Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. We've got our soundboard back, baby. Yeah. So now you can hear that beautiful studio audience laughing, clapping, cheering, sometimes jeering. The Wake Up America Show brought to you by viewers and listeners just like you. So smash that like button if you like what you're hearing today. Help us spread the message of economic freedom and personal liberty, which is what we're all about. And I'm pretty sure all the guests that are joining us today are all about that same thing. Where else can you get the message of freedom so early in the morning? Grab a cup of coffee, whichever blend you prefer, a little bit of tea, something herbal, and let's get rocking and rolling. Be very careful about what you say about the incoming Twitter CEO, lest you face the wrath of Khan. No, Elon Musk? What? This top lobster character, some of you may know him as part of the Tower Gang crew. Big friend, he's got friends in high places. He was banned, apparently, for making a joke about blasting off the new Twitter CEO into space. I mean, Elon Musk does have the rockets to do it. Faced a ban, and apparently his friends in high places managed to get him unbanned as of just a few hours ago. Joining us now to talk about free speech and social media and liberty online is the man himself, the top lobster, not the second, not the third, the numero uno. Joining us now. Good morning, Top. How you doing, brother?
How you doing, Austin? I'm glad you got my credentials correct. That's right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you here, brother. So, I saw that even the presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy was coming to your defense in regards to your Twitter ban. Do you want to just kind of give us a brief Reader's Digest version of what's happened in the last 24 hours?
Sure. I guess it was about Saturday. I decided that I'm gonna go all in on criticizing Linda Yaccarino, who's going to be the new CEO of Twitter. She seems to have worked for the Economic Forum. She works for NBC. She has a resume that rubs me the wrong way, and it kind of it feels like we're going to be going backwards on Twitter in terms of like well, free speech, if you want to call it that, or just really what we're allowed to do and how we're allowed to grow on their accounts like ours and other people that value liberty. So I started in top lobster fashion to just really, dig my claws into Linda, and I took some shots at Elon too, all within the rules. I understand the rules very well, which is why apparently I still have this account because we walk that line. It's like it's a line of offensive comedy, but it's also a line of like we're telling you the truth. Wake up a little bit, right? And the tweet that was in question that got everyone's attention, uh, Elon said, we're gonna have a spaces to discuss whatever's going on with the new CEO, and I said I'd prefer that we launch Linda into space instead, and that kind of went like I guess semi-viral. It had like 500 likes, and then the other tweets that I had kind of just really poking fun at them. It got decent traction, and then I started noticing like different people that are not in my sphere interacting. So I said, oh, okay, this is left Liberty Twitter. Now it's kind of poking around somewhere. Um, on Mother's Day at about 5 p.m., I noticed that my account's banned or suspended, permanently suspended. So I look at it, I appeal immediately. I'm like, I hope I can get this back. Within 3 minutes, they send me an email that says, "You're not getting this back. So just beat it, kid." Like forget forget about it, which is odd because the first email after you appeal says, "Give us 5 to 7 days," right? I was like, that's fair. You guys have a lot of you're doing a lot. Apparently, whatever's going on in the back end there, they're like, not this guy. He's not coming back. So from that point, Clint from Liberty Lockdown put out a tweet saying like, "This is crazy. Did he really get banned for this? Because it's the only thing that we could think of. I didn't say that much stuff in the last few days, and especially really nothing that would be too crazy."
You said far
Vivek Ram,
worse.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God, the things that I've said. That's I thought it was a cumulative ban. I said if this is a cumulative ban for all the awful things I've said, it makes sense. But if it's just for this one thing, it doesn't make sense at all. Um, that Vivek Ramaswamy got involved. I ended up getting mentioned on some kind of weird spaces with Mario Nawfal, Kim Dotcom, um, other guy from the Twitter files was in there. It was just very bizarre. They're some people are doubting like, oh, this guy is a liar. He must have like put up children having sex or things like this. I'm like, this is crazy. It's just I said maybe like they can't wrap their head around maybe they don't like people criticizing the CEO. So it also got picked up by timcast.com, who, the good people there, really Chris Bertram and Chris Carr, Shane Cashman, they picked up the article, wrote something, and it looked like it got the attention of the people who needed to get that attention, which was Ella Gerwin. I guess she's the safety. I'm not sure her exact position, but she deals with people getting banned in behavior on Twitter. This is where the story gets a little interesting, and I hadn't really uh, like had much time to think about it. But so she actually answers someone, and she says, "We're as of right now, our policy does not does not say that you cannot launch people into space as of now, because it's an impossibility. I suppose, I don't know. If I did have the technology, I'd listen. I know is this terrestrial radio, whatever.
Just go, no, you're fine. Go ahead and say what you want to say.
Okay, listen. If I did have the technology personally, I would have done it, and I would not regret it. But
And so pause for just a moment here. If you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show, I see people starting to file into their seats here. Good morning. I'm Austin Peterson, your host. Grateful to have you here. Make sure you smash that like button. Help us spread the message of freedom today, which is what we're all about. And that's what I'm talking about today with our friend Top Lobster, who was banned from Twitter after making a joke about the incoming CEO, Linda Yaccarino, suggesting that maybe Elon Musk should blast her off into space. Now, your beef with Linda Yaccarino, people have been talking about her resume and her background and saying things like, well, she's connected to the World Economic Forum, which is the famous, eat the bugs and live in the pods, fame, right? You will own nothing and you will be happy. And a lot of people from our circles and our extended circles are rightly very critical of the agenda from these global elites. But Rare Camellia over in the live stream earlier says, Elon Musk has earned a wait and see, if you will, when it comes to this CEO. So he's going to oversee her, and he generally has a fairly expansive view on free speech. Maybe not as free as you or I would like, right? For almost completely unbridled. But do you think he's earned a wait and see, or I mean, is it just just comedy for you, or do you really have a big issue with this, a big problem with this woman?
I think like all issues with Top Lobster, it is a mix of all of these things. I like to draw the line of where the character starts and my opinion actually begins. But does he have a wait and see? I don't know. I don't think us as members of Twitter should give him any leeway, because I don't know what the man's thinking. And it's not just her resume that rubs me the wrong way. It was that video. Did you see the video that Clint posted a while ago?
I
Um,
missed it. Do you want to just recap for us?
Sure, yeah. He described it as a struggle session where they actually sat down there on a couch, like interview style, and she's grilling him, and he's not making eye contact with her, maybe because he's intimidated or maybe because he's autistic. I'm not sure. She's saying things like, your advertisers or your future advertisers would like it if you didn't tweet past 3 a.m. Can we work on that? Can you not do that? And she's like kind of talking down to him. And Elon Musk is going, I suppose I could work on that. And I'm thinking of the dynamics in my head. I'm like, you're the richest man in the world. You're shooting shit into space. And this is just some lady that's not even hired yet. It's bizarre. I don't like it. I don't like that attitude coming from somebody. I don't like anyone talking to me like that. So once I see that red flags are going off, then I look into her background. I said, okay, we got it here. I know exactly what's going on. I mean, in the last few months, we've seen probably what the Force Light lady ruin a company. This lady's going to attempt it. I've seen him multiple times. So I don't know. I don't think he deserves. I don't know if he deserves the right word, but I'm not giving him any leeway. I think we should act up. I said we should act like the bad kids in class and make the substitute teacher just want to quit her job before she even starts. You know?
That's funny stuff. Good morning. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm glad you're tuning in here. It's nice to see so many people starting to file in on Rumble, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook and many other platforms like Spreely as well. Make sure you smash that like button if you're enjoying the content so far. It's good to see so many friends of liberty joining us nice and early this morning. So, in regards to Elon Musk and how he handles free speech on Twitter, he's been very selective. I'm not a big Alex Jones fan, but I still always stood up for his right to free speech and thought that it was a mistake for them to deplatform him because I knew that that was the canary in the coal mine, that as soon as they came for Alex Jones, they were going to come for the rest of us. So Elon's approach to free speech has been sort of scattershot, right? The shotgun approach. It's whatever he thinks in that way. But I mean, isn't that how it would be if we all were the owners of our own platforms? We would decide who we wanted to allow on our platforms. I mean, it really is a private company now. It's not even publicly traded anymore. So, we can criticize him, of course, and that's our right. But ultimately, that's his decision, as it should be, right?
Sure. Yeah. As a libertarian, I agree with that. That's a property rights issue, number one. But then I think he's not a libertarian, and he also doesn't understand the issues. He doesn't grasp these social issues as firmly as like most of us do. So if we're giving him pushback on that, I think it's a good thing. And I was actually thinking about the psychology of how Elon Musk has followed a lot of these large right wing accounts and sort of bought their loyalty or their fealty to him with just a like or something. Not all of them. There are like Josie, the redhead libertarian. She will criticize him, which is, I mean, I think it's the most brave thing you can do because he's kind of like the tide that's going to rise all of these guys that they have 100,000 followers since plus since he's followed them. But it's interesting because it seems like he's purchased a way to not be criticized from the right, from the largest voices on the right,
But
which is
but I mean,
important.
he is probably one of the only, if not the only, billionaire who's willing to come out and call the woke mind virus what it is. I mean, he has battled the outrageous behavior from the left in a way that I find compelling. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree. Which is why it was like I was kind of like very thrown off when you hire somebody who works for the world, who has worked for the World Economic Forum, who holds these weird ideas, who has basically threatened you on a live stream. It's not consistent. And even with his tweets, he's tweeted multiple times about the World Economic Forum being very shady. So one of the tweets I did tweet at him was like, "Well, what changed?" And it's just screenshots of him saying the World Economic Forum is weird. They want you to
Mhm.
eat bugs or whatever he's saying. Yeah, and to no answer, of course. I mean, I don't expect that he saw it, but something's not right.
Is there a problem, do you think, Lobster, that on our side of things, that there are very few people who are in a position to be able to run a company like Twitter? And what I'm essentially asking here is that if you were to look at the bench of people who share our ideological views, how many of them actually have the experience or the credibility to that aren't connected to the World Economic Forum to be able to run a multi-billion-dollar company? It's really not the kind of thing that you can learn on the job. And if anything, I'm kind of criticizing our side in terms of, having the right ideology, but also having the skills to be able to run a multi-million dollar institution. Lobster, I look around and I don't see a lot of people who believe what we believe who are capable of doing that.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'll be critical right now of the Libertarian Party, which I love a lot, most of the people in it, but are we qualified libertarians? Are we qualified right now to even run that? We had a takeover and now things are kind of sloppy, but maybe they'll figure it out. There's a big learning curve. As far as like the bigger playing field, no, even people on the right, Elon Musk is not on the right. Let's be clear about that. He's already said I voted for Obama, I voted for Hillary, and I voted for Biden. So he's not on the right. He's on the left. He's disaffected. He's figuring out what's going on now, starting pretty late, if that is the truth. But we don't have the credibility. I mean, the left, or I guess you could say progressives have made the long march through the institution. So people coming out of these colleges that do have the credentials or that are working their way up, like a Linda Yaccarino, will naturally have a mindset that's more towards the left. So that's a cultural thing, and it'll take years to fix it. But I think you're right. It's kind of when you do look at it, it's like, well, did we have any other choice? No, but we have to take the best that we can get. So that's
Yeah.
why I think it's important to criticize them and kind
No, I
of
think you're right.
guide
I
them.
No, you're right. I think you're right. It's just that when I go over it in my head, it's difficult to find someone who doesn't get to the top of corporate power without being part of networking organizations like the WEF in order to advance their own careers. I like Tulsi Gabbard, but she's connected to the WEF, right? A lot of people like Dan Crenshaw. I'm not a fan, but he's connected to the WEF. And a lot of these people, these power players, if they want to be able to be, big, they join these organizations a lot of times, and they may not necessarily agree with the institution. They just know that it's a smart thing to do. And like when I was running for office here in Missouri, I joined the Missouri Farm Bureau and the Cattlemen's Association, even though they're all about big government and subsidies. But by becoming a member of that organization, that entitles me the right to go to their meetings and to be able to criticize and to be able to say, hey, listen, I don't agree with these kinds of things. But in order to be able to change the institution, you've got to be a part of the institution, which is what a lot of people say about like the Libertarian Party or the Republican Party. So it does become a bit of a tangled web. But Lobster, I've got to let you go here, but I want to give you a little bit of time to plug your projects and what you're working on. Maybe half of the people who are watching the show this morning are kind of like, who's this Top Lobster guy, Austin? Tell us about him. So tell us who you are, what you're all about, and what you're working on these days, and where people can follow you.
Sure. Yeah, I am the Sean King of Liberty Twitter. I am the king of the plebes. I'm a professional asshole. You could follow me at Twitter sometimes if I'm not banned there, and it's a Top Lobster with an A. Please don't use the hard R. Um, Go to toplobster.com. I I have inspired people like Austin Peterson to start his merch shop, which is very successful, and he's really killing it. I am one of the ground floor people with a Liberty merch shop. You can go check that out. But more importantly, some of the other products I'm working on, merchengine.com. I basically work for Gas Digital, who's a podcast producer, and they have Part of the Problem, Legion of Skanks, you name it. I make the designs for there, and we're getting that business off the ground. So that would mean a lot if you go and show support there. And check out Tower Gang tomorrow if you want to listen to offensive comedy. We're not going to say anything. You're not going to learn anything. If you learn something, you came there for the wrong reason. But just go there, check us out, have a laugh, and like shake off clown world a little bit with us. That's what we do.
We'll do that. That's Top Lobster. You can follow him on Twitter when he is not banned. Don't use the hard R, kids. You're going to get in trouble, get canceled for that. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you very much. Thanks for standing up for freedom, and we appreciate you bringing these issues to light. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Catch you around, man.
Thank you very much. What did you think of Top Lobster? Send us a text message today at 573-319 1586. The Durham report finally dropped, and it's devastating for the left and for all the people with Trump derangement syndrome. Take a listen.
Regardless, the report is now here. It has dropped, and it might not have produced everything of what some Republicans hoped for. It is, regardless, devastating to the FBI, and to a degree, it does exonerate Donald Trump. Regardless, the report is now here. It has dropped, and it might not have produced everything of what some Republicans hoped for. It is, regardless, devastating to the FBI.
Oh, lordy, 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 what is going on today? The Durham report has dropped. Yes, we're keeping an eye on this story. The FBI responded Monday to the scathing report by the special counsel John Durham that found the Department of Justice and the FBI failed to uphold their mission of strict fidelity to the law when it launched the Trump-Russia investigation. This is big, major news. The agency touted what it said were dozens of corrective actions, yeah, right, we're all laughing, already implemented as a result of the Durham investigation. The FBI said that the conduct in 2016 and 2017 that special counsel Durham examined was the reason that current FBI leadership already implemented dozens of corrective actions, which have now been in place for some time. Had those reforms been in place in 2016, the missteps identified in the report could have been prevented, the FBI said. Sure, we believe the FBI, don't we? They continued on by saying, this report reinforces the importance of ensuring that the FBI continues to do its work with the rigor, objectivity, and professionalism that the American people deserve and rightly expect. We're all laughing. We're all laughing at the idea that the FBI actually made corrective actions. I saw that Vivek Ramaswamy, well, now that we're talking about him this morning, went on Fox News the other day and had something to say about the FBI. Let me see if I can pull up the clip real quick. Oh my god. Oh, here we go. There we go. This is the good stuff. This is the good stuff. Oh, inject this straight into my veins. Vivek Ramaswamy, man, he's just giving me the vapors. Take a listen.
One of your big applause lines that is a bit of a head scratcher for me is defund the FBI.
Yeah.
So if you
I didn't say defund the FBI. I said shut down the FBI and replace it
Okay.
with something new. Yeah.
So you want to shut down the FBI? What are you replacing it with?
I think it's a new apparatus built from scratch that actually respects the law instead of making it up. The funny thing, Chuck, is if you look at over the
I
last...
think the FBI constantly is making up the law. That is a huge charge. They just stopped major fentanyl. Been able to get rid of. I mean, there's a lot of work the FBI does.
I think,
other than respond to complaints from elected officials who don't like investigations.
Well, actually, if you look over the course of the last 60 years, J. Edgar Hoover, what he did to Martin Luther King, that was an affront. It's still the J. Edgar Hoover FBI that people walk into down the street here in Washington, D.C. And I personally believe, as somebody who's running to actually run the executive branch of the government, when you have a bureaucracy whose culture becomes so ossified, every once in a while you need to turn it over. And I think that, yes, we need federal law enforcement, but that institution has, in a bipartisan way, become so, I think, ossified in its own norms, in its own corruption, that we need to rebuild it from scratch and have something.
So you're going to replace the FBI with a new FBI?
Well, with a new institution built from scratch to carry out federal law enforcement, because the existing FBI, the people who work there, have worked there for...
The media loves the government. They love the government big time. You know who doesn't love them some government? Me. And Larry Sharpe, who's joining us next, that vigilante in New York City, the U.S. Marine who was charged. You know, Larry Sharpe was a U.S. Marine. What does he think about his fellow Marine? Do you think that does he think that manslaughter charges were warranted in the case of Jordan Neely? Let's talk to Larry Sharpe about that when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today. Fire.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Petersen stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apeforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me, that you never ever visit apforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit apforlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. All right, well, I'm a farm boy, but my next guest is a big city guy, and he's saying, Austin, why are you getting up so early? It's because that's how we like to do things in the Midwest. Rise and Freedom. Joining us now, that big city boy, Larry Sharpe, on the line. Good morning, Larry. How are you doing, brother?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm happy to be here as always. Yes, I am. People always tell me, I say, why the hell are you in that city? Look, I'm born and raised here. I am a city boy. It's true. Guilty as charged, my friend. Guilty as charged.
And it is an hour later there on the East Coast, Larry, so not quite as early as it is here. But thank you so much for getting up early and joining us. Larry, I thought about you when I saw this story about this Jordan Neely character who was killed in an altercation on the subway by one of your fellow comrades, a U.S. Marine, who has now been charged with manslaughter after fatally choking Jordan Neely to death on the train. Whether it was done intentionally or not, I mean, that's going to be, I guess, up to a jury trial. But I guess we should just start with you giving us your take. Big picture, Larry. How do you feel about this case?
People don't understand about New York City, and not being a New York City person, people who are listening may go, this seems kind of odd. If you live in New York City, you will be bullied. That's how it works. You'll be bullied by people who are in some form of uniform, and you'll be bullied by criminals. That's who you'll be bullied by. You do not get to defend yourself in my city. Literally, it is against the law. You will go to jail if you defend yourself. And people know that, which is why most people do literally nothing when bad things happen in the subway. There have been stories about women literally being sexually assaulted, and no one does a thing, because we know that if you do something, you will be the one who goes to jail. You'll be the one. When I first came back to see, after I was in Marine Corps for many years, when I first came back, I was the guy who would do something. Yes, I was a Marine too. I would step up and do something, right? So when something would happen, I was the guy in the subway who would go, guys, stop, what are you doing? Hey, turn that down. I was that guy. And the first thing that happened was I got yelled at by everybody else in the subway car. I'm trying to defend them, and they would yell at me. So I got yelled at. And I realized after a while that, okay, I'm not wanted here, right? They don't want me to protect them. They want me to shut up and sit down and do nothing. So what made this weird to me is after this Marine got up and did something, no one on the train tried to stop him. Two people helped him. That's what made me think something's weird here. This is New York City. We don't help people. We let them, we call the cops and walk away. That's what we do. Two people said, no, not get off of him, but they helped to hold the guy down. They didn't say, stop, what are you doing? They held on. So that makes me think maybe something's up. But the thing that bothered me more than anything else is our local officials immediately said lynching. Oh my God, does that make me angry, Austin? Because in case you didn't know, I'm a person of color. My ancestors were lynched. This is not a lynching. A lynching is someone says, I'm gonna go get me a black guy. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna publicly execute him so that everyone else can see. And that's what I'm gonna do as a lesson to the rest of you people. That's what a lynching is. This was some guy reacting, probably reacting to being tired of being bullied every single damn day on the city. Probably tired of seeing this, and maybe saw somebody else get beat up or hurt last week or the week before, the week after. Every single person who's lived in New York City for many years has seen somebody like this do something bad. It's just, I have stories, people have stories too. So this guy was reacting. Do I think he should have choked him? I don't. I think that was a mistake. But what if he had punched him instead? What if he had got up and struck him? Something that many people would have done. What if that guy falls down and now dies? Is he a murderer now? I think no. I don't think it was intentional. I do think he did. I think he killed him. He did. There's no doubt he killed him. There's no doubt he did that. Was his intent to kill? Do you think someone thought to publicly choke someone to death? Honestly, do you think that? I don't think he did that. Now, we could find out maybe, he was linked to some crazy clan group or something, maybe, who knows, but I think that would have come out already. The odds are he was reacting. The people around there were reacting and they were worried or scared or afraid. That's what I think happened. So is it possible he goes to jail? Yes, it is. And the sad part is it's because of the system that we have. Juries, particularly in New York, tend to put people away. They love government. They believe the government. They believe when you walk into a court, you are automatically guilty. I know lawyers right now are angry at me going, no, it's a high burden of proof. That is a lie that they've been told in law school and they still believe. There's no high burden of proof. You walk into a courtroom, particularly in my state, in my city, you are guilty. Can you prove your innocence? That's how it actually works. Juries just put people away. There's a reason why there's a 99% conviction rate. So I think he may go to jail, but at least he's raised $2 million, which means he will get a fair trial, which is a good thing. If you can raise that kind of money, you'll get a fair trial in our country. As long as you have enough money, you will. So hopefully he'll be able to get a fair trial and we'll see what happens.
Man, those are some good sound bites there. If you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Make sure you smash that like button if you like what you're hearing so far, and subscribe if you haven't already, especially on Rumble, which we've been excited to see our growth of our audience over there. We'd love to continue to build and grow over there, as well as a big shout out to our Cantina crew over on YouTube who keep us alive, and we appreciate you all very much. Joining us now live on camera from New York City is Larry Sharpe. He's talking about his fellow U.S. Marine who is being charged with manslaughter after choking a homeless man in the subway, a mentally ill man, to death, Jordan Neely, after an altercation that was involved. Now, the video only shows a small amount of context. It's difficult for us to know what happened before and what necessarily happened after, because you can see that Jordan Neely was still moving after he had been choked, but then he died later from asphyxiation. Now, our friend and your fellow Libertarian Party member, Maj Touré, he doesn't agree with you and I on this. He thinks that this was manslaughter. He thinks that he was a murder victim, essentially, and he argues that that this man should go to jail for what he did. What do you think about what Maj Touré has to say? He's a libertarian.
I think we have jumped on the culture war on this because one guy was white and one guy was black, and that we should. If both of those guys were white or both were black, we would probably even not be hearing about this. That would be the end. This fits a culture war narrative that gets us to stop talking about the actual issue. And the issue is the subways are a joke. New York City does not take care of its people. This is a problem that no one wants to fix. So we don't have to fix it. I mean, our city council people who are people of color were yelling, lynching, lynching. We have it's about $106 billion budget in New York City. Our budget in New York City is larger than most states. I think like 40 states. We are larger than 40, just in New York City is larger than all these states. We can't fix anything. So let's yell this. Because this is what's going to make some of your audience just want to jump out of their skin. About a day or two later, a bunch of people came down into the subway and blocked the entire subway. Massive protest, blocked the entire subway. You might go, well, Larry, isn't that a good thing? No, why? Because the rich white people who they hate are up there in their black cars being driven around. The actual people who they hurt were the working class and the working poor who take the subway. They hurt their own. And not just that, why in the world, what were they protesting for? So some guy can go to jail. They weren't protesting to fix the subway system or to have a system to help the mentally ill that are in our subways or to help the homeless. No, they weren't protesting for that. That's fine. Let the system stay garbage. That's totally fine. But let's put this guy in jail because that's justice. So now I'm happy because a guy goes to jail. Boy, oh boy, is my life any better? No. Do I still live in a crappy place? Yes. Is my subway system any better? No. Did I punish the people who drive around in the black limos up on the streets of my city? No. But boy, did I get some guy to go to jail? That's what matters? No. Whether or not Penny goes to jail or not doesn't make my city better. Whether or not Penny is executed in the streets by firing squad or whether he goes off and they give him a penthouse on Park Avenue, it doesn't affect me or my city or my people at all. We are fighting a war that means nothing. The actual war we should be fighting is we have a problem in the biggest city in America, and it's obvious. The city is dying, and we care about whether they put somebody in jail. It is just distraction, and it makes me angry.
Larry, talk to us about the race question on this, because like you said earlier, if it had been white on white or black on black, we probably wouldn't be talking about it right now. Why does the left focus so hyper intensely on white on black crime? Is it because it fits their narrative?
100% yes. You've hit it perfectly. Something to realize, the two guys who held down Jordan weren't white. So where's the two people being charged for accessory to the crime? Right? If it's a lynching, it's got to be a gang, right? That's what a lynching is. It's got to be a mob. Well, where's the other two guys who were part of the mob? I don't see them being charged. So yeah, why? They're also not white. Now, am I saying that's the reason? Yeah, I am. I'm literally saying that's the reason. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That is the reason. Yes, because it doesn't fit a narrative. If it had been, there's no way in the world that if my brother-in-arms was a black Marine, that they would be calling it a lynching. They wouldn't. I know that because there's black on black crime all the time in our city, constantly, and they never called it a lynching. It's only because he was white, which sounds horrible. I know. You would think that in New York City, we're a liberal city, we're a democratic city, we wouldn't care about that kind of thing. No, we're just like everybody else cross country. If it fits a narrative, it will lead in the news cycle. That's kind of how it works.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Austin Peterson. I'm speaking to Larry Sharpe. He's the former gubernatorial candidate for the state of New York in the Libertarian Party. We're talking about that event in New York City with the choking death of Jordan Neely and the implications involved with race, tribalism, and politics. Quest Fanning just dropped $5 into the tip jar. Thank you for that, Quest. We appreciate that. Give him a round of applause. He says cashless bail and other craziness are a response to the fact that New York City is over litigious. I think you'd probably agree with that, wouldn't you?
Yes, the issue we have with our bail reform, which makes me even doubly angry, is the concept of bail reform is a wonderful concept, and we should have had bail reform. That is a true thing. What we did in New York was a terrible idea, right? The way we went so far in New York that other states are not going to have bail reform because of us. That's how bad we were. Was there a requirement to have bail reform in New York State? Yes, there was. Let me be clear, there was. New York City has the most violent jail in the entire country. That is Rikers Island. My father used to be a corrections officer there, believe it or not. So yes, I mean, it is the worst, most dangerous jail, not prison. So most people who are there are not convicted of any crime, right? So it's the most violent jail in the entire country. And we're going to places like that because you were poor. So there was bail reform that was required. But my argument was twofold. One, it should be done based upon how many times you've been arrested. Focus it on first-time offenders. We have people who've been arrested 4, 5, 6 times. In the case of Neely, it was 40 some odd times, and just keep coming out again and again and again. Focus it on first-time offenders. If you're really, sympathetic, second-time offenders, right? If you're really sympathetic, okay, focus it on that. And the second piece we have to worry about is, why aren't we having things like, as an example, why aren't we using ankle bracelets or other ways of keeping people? We have tons of them. We literally have thousands of them across New York City, tens of thousands of them we never use them. Why aren't we doing that instead? Well, what do? We said, well, the judge's hands are tied. Everybody gets back out. Quest is correct. It was a disaster. It was so bad that other states who need to have some bail reform will not, because they'll be afraid of what New York did. It was a terrible idea. And on top of it, we put it on the same time that we actually had some discovery reform, which, for those who don't, discovery reform in New York State has been terrible. You would get arrested here in this state, and the government would get all the evidence for 6, 8, 9 months. And then your defense team gets it, I'm not joking, 2 days before trial. How are you going to possibly have a defense when you get all the information 2 days before trial? That kind of thing would happen all the time in New York. So that part was good. So I want to kind of give credit where credit is due. There were some good reforms in New York State. Discovery reform was a good part of that. Bail reform was not.
Now, Larry, in one last question in regards to this specific incident here, on the racial angle side of things, Larry, I mean, as a black man, and a libertarian, you're very rare as hen's teeth, if you will. But in regards to, how to look at this from a self-defense perspective, right, as a libertarian, I mean, is it legitimate to have acted in the way that Penny acted to restrain a threat? I mean, that's classic jujitsu there. It seems to me to be a fairly clear case of self-defense, although, even though the jury there is tainted, in theory, a jury, should determine that. But in your mind, is that a proper way to handle that kind of a threat, just in general, not considering, devoid of the circumstances of it being in New York City and your criminal justice system, what have you? But do you think that, in that scenario, that is the correct way to try and restrain someone from doing violence, especially with someone who had a criminal record in such a way?
As a general rule, I'm for self-defense, of course, right? Of course. The issue I have here is, do I think choking was the right answer? No, I don't. Most people, and I hear this all the time, well, he's a Marine, so he's learned how to kill. No, Marines learn how to shoot and stab people. That's what we learn. I'm very good at that to this day. I can take one of your Templar knives and do some damage. Just saying, I still can do it. I can still do it. So yeah, so I learned how to shoot and stab people, and all Marines learn how to shoot and stab people. That we got down. They don't teach us how to choke people. That's like MMA guys know that stuff. So I'm not saying that he's wrong or right. I'm saying I don't know yet. Did he have a jiu-jitsu background? Did he know he was choking someone to death? Does he have some kind of special training? If he had that kind of special training and knows how to choke people, then that would make him wrong. Like if he actually knows how to do it and then killed him, right? Or maybe we don't know what drugs the guy had in his body. We don't know if we don't know. So I don't want to say he's guilty yet because I don't know if he is. But generally speaking, do I want to defend somebody? Of course I do. But no, I think that if it were me, and I had been in a situation, and I think people will say that, you hit the guy or punch the guy, shove the guy, you step to the guy. Most bullies, and I think you know this too, Austin, when you step to a bully, most bullies walk away, right? Particularly in a city where nobody steps up. I have stepped up to people and they yell and scream and back down. That's what they yell and scream. They walk away yelling. I'll take care of you, blah, 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 as they're walking away. That's usually what happens.
It's true. No, I had it happen to me many times. Had it happen to me many times in New York, same thing. And the few times that I stood up for myself, they just scream in your face and then they walk away. Larry,
Correct.
are you even allowed to carry a knife in self-defense in New York? I can't remember.
Not really, right? No, right. Any kind of gravity knife you go to jail for. You can't. They just, believe it or not, there's some good news. New York City has finally decided you can actually have nunchucks. Look at us go. If you want to do your best Bruce Lee impersonation, Austin, you can come here and do so. You can be Bruce Lee if you want to in New York City. Before that, you went to jail for that. So yeah, remember, don't forget Mr. Alba, the guy who was a bodega, running in a bodega, who defended himself from someone physically beating him. A bigger, stronger, younger guy came into the store and was physically beating him. He defended himself with a knife. The guy died. So he went to jail. So now someone is younger, physically stronger, physically beating you on tape. You go to jail. So the issue is if that wasn't on tape, he would still be in jail.
Larry, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners today? Anything you'd like to plug before we let you go today, friend?
Don't forget to go to Larry Sharpe on all the cool things. I am on Larry Sharpe on all the interwebs, all of them, YouTube and Twitter and all the things. Follow Larry Sharpe. I have some cool things here or there, but either way, I am good looking. So at least check that out.
Larry, we're a big fan of yours, and we're super grateful that you're so generous with your time and getting up early with us today. So we appreciate you and have a wonderful day.
Have a good one, brother.
Thanks very much. What do you think of Larry Sharpe? Send us a text, 573-319-1586. All right, I'm going to take a brief commercial break because I got to go to the bathroom. But when I get back, let's talk more about that Durham report, the one that showed that there was no collusion. I repeat, no collusion. We'll be back with more on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
Thank you for watching the Wake Up America show with my dad. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should visit Dad's online store at apforlibertyshop.com. Number 1, you can get exclusive freedom-loving merch designed by AP himself or me mom, Steffi. Liberty Laura has made some designs as well, and blimey, they are great. Number 2, most of these products are so wicked that they aren't even allowed to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram. Modern machine guns and a proper keychain. Plus, our Grover Cleveland t-shirt is so spicy apparently that leftists on Facebook specifically banned it from appearing on the website. Number 3, you're supporting liberty lovers just like you. Spend your money where you earn it, and you help me pups build a community that supports what you believe. Bloody hell, this commercial is running too long. Gotta run. Bye now. Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. How have you been enjoying the show so far this morning? Good, good. Glad to hear it. And I bet you're glad to hear that we actually have a soundboard that's working as well. Thanks so much for joining us today. All right, let's rock and roll. The next story. Former President Trump said on Monday that former FBI Director James Comey and Democrats need to be held accountable for spending years investigating alleged collusion between Trump and Russia. Now that Special Counsel John Durham has released a report that says the Trump and Russia probe should never have been launched.
Now an investigation that's 4 years in the making, and we finally have the conclusions, more than 300 pages released by the Justice Department. Now it has now been transmitted to members of Congress, who also are going to want to bring John Durham in to review some of the findings. But the bottom line is this. The investigation found that the FBI failed in many, many ways, things that we already knew from a previous Inspector General report, and I'll read you just a part of it.
Did they know it, though? But did the media know it? Did the left know it? Did MSNBC know it? Did CNN, that we're listening to right now, know it?
Of John Durham's conclusion, he says, based on the review of Crossfire Hurricane and related intelligence activities, we conclude that the department and the FBI failed to uphold their important mission of strict fidelity to the law in connection with certain events and activities.
The FBI failed to uphold their fidelity of strict fidelity to the law. Well, surprise, surprise. This is what they were saying for years and repeating ad infinitum. Take a listen.
Sort of collusion. Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russian, metal collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russian, potentially collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russian, collusion. Trump, Russian collusion. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Russian collusion. Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russian, possible collusion. Trump, Russians, collusion. Collusion with the Russians. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. 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 Trump, Russia, potential collusion. Trump, Russia, potential collusion.
And the Kremlin and be in collusion with Putin. And the Kremlin and be in collusion. And Putin and the Kremlin and be in collusion. 17 agencies. 17 of our intelligence agencies have confirmed. Our intelligence agencies. 17 intelligence.
It was all a lie. It was all a lie. But you know who doesn't lie? The lovely Camelia Peterson, who's going to be joining us next to talk about the war, the battle between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. It just keeps getting hotter and hotter in here. So take off all your clothes. I am getting so hot, I'm going to take my clothes off. All right, we'll be back with Camelia to talk about Trump v. DeSantis on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Cantina crew. This is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter. And I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing to do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive. And if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian, and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
Conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
If I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors, what would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist. Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. All right, well, yesterday on my Instagram account, I posted a meme talking about Ron DeSantis, and I said I thought that he would probably be a pretty good president, to be honest. And the fires of hell were unleashed upon me from the Trump supporters who claim not only is he WEF and a Soros stooge, but he also might not hate the state of Israel. Oh my God, can you believe it? Oh my God. Some people seem to forget, though, there is a picture of Donald Trump wearing a yarmulke, staring at the and praying at the Wailing Wall. But I guess Trump supporters just forgot about that fact. And what's with the Israel hate anyway? All right, joining us now to suss it all out and to unweave this tangled web is the lovely lady, Camelia Peterson, joining us now. Good morning, CJ. What in the hell is that's behind you today?
Well, we have Trump and his base, and then we have his current the girl that he's currently pursuing.
Yes, that is a challenge. So talk to you made a little comment, a snide remark, if we will, about Donald Trump running to the left of Ron DeSantis here. Let's hear it.
Well, right. I mean, if you look at Trump's strategy, as he's been coming out, I think in an effort to make himself relevant, because DeSantis has been so popular through the lockdowns and all of the things that he has been doing in Florida and his success with that I think Trump has really had to work hard to, pull everybody's attention back to him. And so the way he's chosen to do that is by hitting DeSantis on things that, Trump normally would be okay with, and that Trump's base is really okay with. And so the latest topic that he's chosen to do that on is abortion, which is really weird because Trump's hardcore, most dedicated base of followers are also very, very pro-life. Like he has people are varying degrees of pro-life, but probably the most extreme pro-life group are the ones that are like no exceptions, or whatever. And those are his people, to be honest. So DeSantis just signed a 6-week abortion ban into law. There are exceptions for, rape, incest, those sort of things. And this is down from a previous bill that he had signed that was controversial then for 15 weeks. So, people like everybody else is applauding this, but instead Trump came out and was like, well, maybe, maybe that's not such a great thing, or he draws it in, brings it into question basically. And he said that, he said Trump, he said DeSantis has, got to do what he's got to do. And when Trump was asked, like, well, do you agree with this? He was like, I'm looking at it. And he gave this really vague answer that leaves his pro-life policy in question. That's not a good thing.
But I mean, it's just funny how people like Carrie Lake and Cat Turd and so many other people just turned on DeSantis on a dime. It was, as if they're getting orders from above and are trying to paint DeSantis as if he's some kind of a leftist. But at the same time, Trump is taking a position decidedly to the left of DeSantis on many of these major issues.
Right. And I didn't hear really anything said about this after the CNN town hall. And since I didn't watch the whole thing, I don't know. But one of the articles that, I was looking at said that he had been asked about that during the town hall and had kind of dodged that question. And he pivots, rightly so, he pivots to the Roe v. Wade, overturning Roe v. Wade, while he was in office. And so that, and he's made statements recently about his stance being that the abortion question should be in the hands of the state, which actually Susan B. Anthony organization had problems with that because, and I tend to agree with Trump on this particular aspect of it. I don't know what DeSantis thinks, but the Susan B. Anthony organization actually was taking Trump to task because I think that they think it should be decided federally, which, the overturning Roe v. Wade, I think, is one of those things where we are seeing the be careful what you wish for and unintended consequences that can come out of what we think we want, because even if it was the right thing to do, and even if we think the decision should be back in the hands of the state, that means, for example, here in Missouri, all of a sudden abortion is a humongous issue again, because there are so many pro-abortion initiative petitions that are being filed in their attempt to get that on the ballot. And so now all of a sudden we're going to be in the middle, where it was kind of decided in Missouri, even with Roe v. Wade, it is pretty much eliminated in the state, but all of a sudden it's not. And so, we're going to have to keep fighting that battle. But So
This is what we do. This is politics. This is the life
right,
that
what are you
we've
gonna do?
chosen, Camellia. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson. I'm speaking to my friend Camellia Peterson. She's an ON, I'm an EN. Poperoni here says, killer shirt, AP. Thank you very much. My lovely wife got this for me for my birthday. I was so inspired by it, I actually made my own version of it, which you can actually purchase over at ap4libertyshop.com. If you haven't done that, check it out. That's AP, the number 4, ap4libertyshop.com. I'm seeing this morning, I'm reading the news on Ron DeSantis. It says DeSantis signs bill to defund DEI. These are the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs at Florida's public colleges. I mean, these are the kind of red meat issues that Republicans really want to see. I'm surprised that so many Trump supporters have taken such a hard tack against DeSantis. I mean, it must be hard to wake up in the morning and be Carrie Lake and say, I know this is all bullshit, but I'm going to say it anyway.
So here's the thing. Missouri is an overwhelmingly red. We have a supermajority, right? We're overwhelmingly red state that people like to talk about. And Florida does not nearly have the numbers that we have when it comes to a supermajority. So the laundry list of things that their legislature has accomplished this session is pretty impressive. So people here in Missouri, politicos have been comparing us to Florida and why can't we do this? Because we got the one thing done, which was the most important thing, protecting kids, with chemical and medical or surgical transition procedures. But everything else that conservatives should want to get done, whether it's education reform or tax reform, we didn't get any of those things. Nothing. It was absolutely ridiculous. What we did do is we gave tax breaks to Hollywood. Well, I mean, that's important. But when you look at what the Florida legislature has gotten done, you're right. It's like defunding DEI. They passed tax relief measures. They passed permitless carry. I mean, we're better than them on that, but like they're making progress. They did the 6-week abortion ban. There's just a whole lot of things. I was looking at some other things. They also addressed central
bank digital currencies.
Thank you. I was like,
yes.
Second word. So they addressed that in legislation. They did the ban. They also did the ban on sex reassignment surgeries, other operations for minors. There's a whole lot of things that they addressed ESG, ton of stuff. And so now all of a sudden everybody in Missouri, are like, we're over here like Florida.
It's true. Tali Owens over in the live stream. Good morning, Tali. She says Florida is on fire and I'm here for it. Yeah, it has been funny to see all of these conservatives who moved to Florida specifically for those policies now have to, kind of take orders and say, oh no, DeSantis did a terrible job of COVID. No, we moved here because of other reasons.
The thing about the abortion issue, though, that I think is probably a good question in Trump running to the left of DeSantis on this is that in 2022, I think we thought that maybe the Roe v. Wade decision was not going to impact the election all of that much. And it probably did a lot more than a lot of us anticipated and contributed to that red wave that wasn't. So that is a good question. If abortion becomes kind of a big topic, for the election, is that going to alienate some of those people in the middle that DeSantis needs to win if he really goes hardcore on that? And at the same time, can Trump capture that vote even if he goes to the left? Because those are the very people that can't stand him right now.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting because I think a lot of people have said that they think Donald Trump is going to win the primary, but they believe that he will lose the general election, which is fascinating because typically the argument is in order to win the primary, you have to prove that you can win the general election. But this might be the very first time that argument is going to go out the window, that Republicans are no longer going to say, we need to get a candidate who can actually win. They're saying, we know we're going to lose, but we're scared shitless of this guy, and we're going to vote for him because we don't want him to come after us after this one. It's
Well, it's this idea that we owe someone a political office, like, oh, he was mistreated and he was wronged and he deserves this, darn it. He needs vindication, because that's why we should put somebody in office, not whether or not they can actually win and have good policies and not create a whole lot of division in the country.
Shut up, Camellia. We don't want to hear that kind of stuff. This is politics. This is a popularity contest. It's not about who's right or wrong. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, good morning. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We are all about economic freedom and personal liberty here, which means that when politicians are in line with those principles and the constitutional principles that we stand for, then we support them. And when they are not and they go against economic freedom or personal liberty, then we're going to criticize them. So if you come in here thinking that we're going to praise your favorite politician all day long, you can't
just wait
go wrong.
5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because what was it just last week or something? Chris Morrill was getting so triggered. What was it? Oh, because I was talking about how great a job Trump did in the CNN town hall. And boy, Chris Morrill, I mean, I could hear his teeth grinding all the way from Cape Girardeau. But, I believe in that. Credit where it's due. You should take a sticks and carrots approach to how you handle politicians. When they do something right, praise them. When they do something wrong, you must excoriate them. You must beat them with a cane vigorously.
There is some value to public shaming.
Exactly. Now, our Missouri politicians, talking about things a little bit closer to home on the state level, they did manage to ban procedures done on young people. The most important thing that needed to happen got done, right?
Yes.
But then in regards to texting while driving, that also, there was a ban, but that got done as well. What was this?
It sure did. So this was, and actually word was, it was such a mess in the last week of session that, word was that bill had gotten killed. It did not get killed. It ended up coming back, but it did get watered down significantly. Some of our more conservative legislators managed to at least make it so that it's not a primary thing that they can pull you over for secondary stuff. Like, it's got all kinds of dumb exceptions in it. So basically, my excuse now, if they pull me over and ask me why my phone is in my hand, because I literally carry my phone like this on my steering wheel. So I have a pop socket. So I have both hands on the wheel, but my phone's in my hand. It's a whole lot easier than taking my eyes off the road for something else, or my map. I'm using my map. But so if they pull me over for having my phone in my hand, my excuse is going to be that I'm accessing this song that is stored on my phone, because that's one of the exceptions in this bill.
What?
So dumb.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I am serious. I haven't dug in. I'm sure there's other dumb things, exceptions in there, because you've got to you're wanting to make the lobbyist happy, but you also don't want to totally, restrict yourself. Funny story, I was actually with the senator who carried this bill when lobbyists called him, and they had a meeting about this, and they were asking him to carry the bill. And I was sitting here listening to this whole conversation and keeping my mouth shut, thinking they have no idea what I think about this. I was like, holy cow. And I was like, don't carry this bill. And he carried that bill. But yeah, no, there's an exception that, it's okay if you have your phone in your hand, as long as you're accessing a song that is stored on your phone. So have a song always stored on your phone.
There you go. All right. So usually I'll stream through YouTube a lot of times, but now I'll just download the song into my YouTube and say, hey, I was listening it. I wasn't clicking through YouTube or watching YouTube videos. I was playing the song that I had downloaded onto my YouTube app. Jamie Marie Pope says, Camellia looks hot today. I thought you said she doesn't wear makeup. Oh, that's right. I thought you said she didn't wear makeup, Camellia.
Hey. I have lipstick on. It's true.
It's a very subtle shade today. Camellia, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners before we let you go today?
I don't think so. We just have to all keep going out there every day and doing our best and try not to pull our hair out and keeping a sense of humor about it. Because let me tell you, the funniest thing I ever saw. So, okay, I'll tell you what this one last thing before we go.
All right.
One of the things they do in the Missouri legislature is they have freshman representatives get participation trophies. So they all get a certificate for something that they champion. And it's so funny because one of the one of the reps got who was embroiled in controversy over his backtracking on school choice, because he had said in his campaign he was like very on board with school choice and everything. Then he turned around and came out totally against it and totally in favor of his local public schools. Well, his award was for being a supporter of the public education system. And I'm thinking, the Speaker of the House has a really good sense of humor. Then you got the other guy standing next to him that's, getting an award for, school choice in Missouri. Everybody gets an award.
Everybody gets a participation trophy. All the children in the legislature. We love having you on, Camelia. We look forward to seeing you every Tuesday and Thursday at this time. Have a great day, okay? We'll see you on Thursday.
Have a great Tuesday. Bye.
Have a good one. All right, when we get back, a man in a kayak out in the ocean was attacked by a tiger shark. The video will surprise you. Is that clickbait enough for you? We'll be back with more. And don't forget, we got VX Bullet coming up at 8:30 to talk about what is woke fishing and how you can avoid it. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Donald Trump and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Step right up, ladies and gents, to learn about the coolest president yet. He's not just any old prez, he's Calvin Coolidge, and boy oh boy is he different from the rest. He was quiet as a mouse, but don't you underestimate his power. He knew how to handle money, and he didn't waste an hour. He cut taxes, lowered debt, and balanced the budget with ease. No wonder the Roaring Twenties brought such prosperity and peace. But don't take my word for it. Grab a copy of Calvin the Coolest President and see for yourself. It's a children's book that'll make you smile and help your little ones learn about wealth. You can find it on Amazon Kindle or get your hands on a paperback at apforlibertyshop.com. So come on down and get yourself a copy of the book that's making waves all around town. You won't regret it, so get ready to be floored, because Calvin Coolidge, well, folks, he really scored.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every dollar we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume again.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie, but as a metaphor for us and all that we...
Here's a little known fact.
Women were among the very first to brew beer ever. From Mesopotamia to the Middle Ages to colonial America, women were the ones doing the brewing. Centuries later, how did the industry pay homage to the founding mothers of beer? They put us in bikinis. Wow. Look at this wild. It's time beer made it up to women. So today, Miller Lite is on a mission to clean up not just their but the whole beer industry's Miller Lite has been scouring the internet for all this and buying it back so that they can turn it into good for women brewers. Literally, good How, you ask? Ladies, take it away.
First, we turn the bad into compost. Then we feed compost to worms. Push out beautiful fertilizer.
That good helps farmers grow quality hops, which is then donated to women brewers to make their own really good
But there's definitely more out there. In your attic, in the garage, in your parents' basement. Send any you got into Miller Lite and they'll turn that into good too. Oh. So here's to women, because without us, there would be no beer.
Oh no, oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Good morning, welcome. Oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. That's for the TikTok generation. Good morning, I'm Austin Peterson. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Are you enjoying this show? Hit that like button then. For God's sakes, hit that like button. Social media users are now calling for a boycott of Miller Lite in what they describe as a woke advertisement. It follows the backlash against Bud Light over a partnership with a transgender influencer. Now, the commercial that you just watched at the center of the outrage discusses the historical role that women played in beer brewing. It appears as an apology from Miller Lite over their prior advertising campaigns, which the company itself described as outdated and as sexist. But Miller is now the latest company to be targeted for apparent woke marketing. Experts have said that such campaigns provide an opportunity for brands to appeal to consumers in new markets. However, critics have accused companies of alienating their traditional customer base. Ladies and gents, I got to get an idea from you. What do you think about that Miller Lite commercial? Was it a boo for you? Cheeky Mare says, I am straight, and even I understand that women in bikinis are beautiful. Thank you. I don't understand why we are not supposed to lionize or appreciate beautiful women in skimpy bathing suits anymore. Why is that bad? You know what it is? It's because fat chicks. It's because fat chicks can't stand beautiful younger women getting all of the attention. It's all jealousy. It always has been, and that's what it always will be. Will we please stop the jealous fat ladies from running everything? I want to get me one of those Al Bundy shirts. Remember the Married with Children show? And he had a shirt that said "No fat chicks." That's it. Later today on apforlibertyshop.com, y'all can buy one. The exclusive Al Bundy shirt. No fat chicks. All right. Now, I've only got 5 more minutes to go before we get the lovely BX Bullet. Let's not talk about her in a bikini. We're going to talk to her about woke fishing. Let's keep it all straight and real here. Someone earlier here said that Bud Light and Miller Lite are owned by the same company. That is false. Thank you for that correction, Chris Morrill. We appreciate that. Hawaiian kayak fisherman Scott Haraguchi found himself in a miniaturized scene from Jaws when a tiger shark attacked his kayak about a mile off of the coast of Oahu. Take a look at this incredible footage. Look at this.
Ah! Tiger shark!
Tiger shark!
Tiger shark ran me.
Tiger shark ran me. Dude, could you be any more Japanese sounding? Come on, let's go. Watch this, watch this. So he's got his foot over the side of the kayak. Here comes the shark.
Ah!
What?
Tiger shark! Tiger shark ran me.
Tiger shark. One more time, shall we? Look, he's got his foot just hanging right there. And it like grabs and holds on. That is some scary stuff, man. I would not want to be that guy. He captured the dramatic video on his GoPro, said that he heard a whooshing sound. It sounded like a boat heading towards me without the motor. He looked up, he saw this big, wide brown thing, which my brain thought was a turtle, but then I got slammed by it. Realized it was a tiger shark. He's lucky his foot didn't get bit off. He says, I'm thinking the shark disabled and wounded a seal and maybe let it die or was waiting for it to die. came back and thought I was the seal and attacked me instead. The shark left minor bite marks on his fishing rigged kayak, which was otherwise unscathed. He says, I realize that life is short, time is short on Earth, make the most of it, be nice to people, and all that stuff. Yeah, all right, let's be nice. Shark will eat you. Don't trust Tiger Shark. Tiger Shark is asshole, says Uncle Shirley 22. Very funny. Very good. We appreciate you guys. All right, let me go get BX Bullet TV. I put the commercials up so that I can go do a little magic behind the scenes. Get BX Bullet on the show. We're going to talk about fishing. Cha-ching. Oh, we just got a sale at AP for Liberty shop. Awesome. Thank you so much to whoever purchased from the shop. If you haven't checked out apforlibertyshop.com, you are missing out. When we get back, I'm going to be fishing. Wolf fishing with BX Bullet TV when we get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here. And we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupamericashow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupamericashow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
Thank you for watching the Wake Up America show with my dad. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should visit Dad's online store at apforlibertyshop.com. Number 1, you can get exclusive freedom-loving merch designed by AP himself or me mom, Steffi. Liberty Laura has made some designs as well, and blimey, they are great. Number 2, most of these products are so wicked that they aren't even allowed to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram. Modern machine guns and a proper keychain. Plus, our Grover Cleveland t-shirt is so spicy apparently that leftists on Facebook specifically banned it from appearing on the website. Number 3, you're supporting liberty lovers just like you. Spend your money where you earn it, and you help me Pops build a community that supports what you believe. Bloody hell, this commercial is running too long. Gotta run. Bye now. Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. If you're asking why I'm smiling and laughing, it's because I've been having such a great time having a conversation with our next guest. She's a weekly regular on the show because she's so great. She's a private investigator and a super mom from Texas. She's at BX Bullet TV, and she's joining us now. Give her a round of applause and smash that like button. Good morning, BX. How are you?
Hey, Austin. How are you today?
All right, glad to see you here, BX. Usually, whenever we get you on the show, I like to use your expertise as an investigator to talk about the latest mass shooting or the manifesto of a killer, etc. But I'm really happy this week that we don't have to do that because, thankfully, nothing terrible or no incident has occurred that we need to have your expert analysis on that. Although I am looking forward to talking to you about what we were joking about those Patriot Front types getting arrested at a protest. We will talk about a little bit later, but I'd actually like to use your expertise to talk about a story that you were laughing at and you were kind of poo-pooing, which was an article in Forbes magazine that I shared with you yesterday by a gentleman who was talking about woke fishing. And his headline was 3 dead giveaways. You're dealing with a woke fisher, according to a psychologist. But you seem to think that this is more of a personal issue rather than a societal one. Make your case.
Yeah, so I'm also an expert on online dating, if you didn't know. So I've been in this this hellscape for quite a while, and it really literally is hell. And when I read this article, I'm like looking at it right now. It's so hilarious to me that this guy wrote this and that Forbes published it, which is also strange. But no, I've never heard of woke fishing. I think that this is all something that the author, Mark Travers, I think that this is something that's related to him, right? He's had some terrible experiences, clearly. And I think that I could probably write a counter article to this called Why Mark Travers is Single. Because I read this article and I just could not stop laughing at the way it accelerated as you read through it, right? So like at the beginning, he just talks about how people are exploiting progressivism by pretending to be more socially conscious and woke than they actually are in a bid to attract partners. That's not a thing that happens, okay? Like there's nobody that cares enough about your man bun that they're going to completely fabricate an ideology and like an alter ego online to trick you. That's just bizarre, right? So at first I'm reading this and he's talking about how, oh yeah, it looks like, they seem to agree with you on everything you're passionate about and they don't really have anything to add. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that just tells me that you matched with a person, you went out and you started going on your SJW woke, blah, blah, blah. And this person just sitting there like, Jesus Christ, like, sure. Yeah. I want to get out of here. Right. To me, when somebody's agreeing with you on everything, especially like on an online date, right, they just want to leave because they're uncomfortable around you. So that might be what he was experiencing there. And that might make sense in that perspective. But then, as he goes on, yeah.
Wait, BX, let me stop you right there. You don't think, though, that the phenomenon of like feminist men that they aren't sort of like playing up, oh, I'm a feminist and doing that as a way. It's not just the man bun that they're wearing, but isn't it also that, they're trying to pretend like they're, down with women's issues so that they can get close to females? I mean, I've seen that.
Yeah, sure, I guess. And that makes sense when you're looking at it from the perspective of a woman dating a man as like counter to the other that I just proposed, which was like this guy personally, Mark Travers, right, on a date. Yeah, that does make sense, right? And those guys probably just want to, get in, sleep with you, and then unmatch you, never talk to you again. And that happens in all kinds of different aspects, right? Yeah, sure.
Right. But I mean, how often have you like gone on a date with a guy and he's done something like that, right? He's tried to act like he's, down with the females, but they don't know anything about the issues that they claim to champion. I mean, that's a real thing, right?
Sure, I guess. I mean, I don't really talk about that stuff on a date. So really, we usually just talk about, I mean, like, for me, it's actually like a lot more, like I have to tone it down, right? I don't want them to know my thoughts on everything like the first date, because they'll probably just never talk to me again. But and yes, I agree with you. Yeah. But as he goes down, right, he starts to talk about how like this is more than a first date thing. He says they may only they may try to impress you with buzzwords or slogans without truly comprehending their meaning or only having surface level understanding of complex issues such as systemic oppression or privilege. They may only engage in superficial activism, such as posting about social issues on social media or attending protests without actively participating in social justice efforts. What the hell was this guy talking about? This sounds to me like he met a person online, like who was just like out of their mind, because what person goes to protests without wanting to be there? Why would you do that? Nobody's that valuable of a partner, right? That's very strange.
Here's the thing. Now, as speaking as a guy on the male side of this equation, I got married like almost 2 years ago, but I was in the online dating scene before that for a number of years, and I lived on the East Coast. So, the cities are hellscapes, yes, but trust me, it gets even worse when you get out here into flyover country. But I'll just say this, that when you're a guy, if you're, typically probably more guys tend to be conservative and females tend to be a little bit more liberal. That's what we do see with voting patterns. If you don't mind, allow me to speak generally here. So when you're a guy, there is a lot of pressure because when you speak to the ladies, like typically they are woke. Typically they are, more, I'm a feminist, right? If you ask probably 80% of females in this country, are you a feminist? Probably they will say yes, right? So you've got to kind of dance very carefully. It's a very cautious dance that you have to have if you're actually conservative or a libertarian. Now, if you're a woman, it's our job to try and please you, right? So we're going to say anything. Most of us will say anything. Just please spend some time with us.
Sure,
right?
I agree with that,
Okay.
right? I agree with that, but what this guy's presenting is like so specific, right? Like, and not only that, but he's basically giving you instructions for how never to actually secure a second date. Because he's actually going on and talking about, here's some questions that can help you gauge whether someone's interest in a social cause is genuine. It's like, why are they interested in the cause? What did they learn from their involvement? Do they wish they were doing more? Like, it's almost like he wants people to interrogate their Hinge or Tinder dates to make sure that they're not just faking being social justice warriors. This is really terrible. This is pretty much like why you're single. Please stop. First of all, I don't think that you should even be talking about that stuff on the first date. But I actually matched, I have other problems, Austin, okay? I actually matched with a CIA asset recently, and he wouldn't admit that he was in the CIA or Fed at first, and then eventually it just slipped out while we were having a couple of drinks. And I basically ended up finding out this guy runs like an NSA surveillance van. Like, I'm not even kidding. And then I got super paranoid, and when I got home, I had to like spend an hour checking my car for like bugs. But so that's what I'm worried about. Okay, I'm worried about getting honeypotted by like an alphabet boy.
That's not honeypotting when it's a guy. It's honey-dicked.
Honey dicking me.
Good
You
morning.
do sound like somebody in chat says you come across sounding like you work for Project Veritas. I actually made a joke about that to somebody who said they worked for Google and they unmatched me. So
Oh my God,
yeah.
this is too funny. Good morning. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm Austin Peterson. Thank you very much for tuning in to the show. I'm speaking to BX Bullet at BX Bullet TV, and she's graciously joins us every Tuesday at this time at 8:30 a.m. Central. Glad to have her here. Hey, BX, speaking of honey dicking or honey potting, the feds, also known as the Patriot Front. So these are guys that we frequently see in Washington, D.C. having rallies wearing, they're all wearing like khakis and it's sort of kind of like a uniform. They've got sunglasses on, MAGA caps a lot of times. They're carrying American flags. They've got hoods over their face, right, or balaclavas over their face so that we can't see who they are. And a lot of times you'll see them getting arrested. And it's kind of incredible because when they do get arrested, the cops always leave their balaclavas on. They always leave their faces covered when they arrest them and take them away, which is a little suspicious. I would think that you would think that they would take off their face masks after they arrest them, but it's kind of curious. What are your thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the consensus is that they're all feds, or the vast majority of them are feds. And it's funny because even if they're not, right, like by some weird miracle chance, only one or two of them are actually confidential informants. At least we get to call them feds and see them get all mad about it. And that's pretty funny, you know. I think that, some certain things are indicators, more indicative of confidential informants than others. First of all, we know that pretty much every far right movement out there has confidential informants all throughout, at least several, if not the majority of the higher ups are going to be confidential informants working with the federal government. And so, I think it's hilarious that we get to make fun of these guys for like not trying harder to make themselves look less like feds. I mean, they look like people who are it's just so funny what you're describing with the shirts and the MAGA hats, and they just don't look like they would actually be extremists, right? They definitely look like, something else. And there's other indicators, like you said, when the police like leave or they keep coming back, they don't ever get arrested. There's never charges brought up. They don't take their face masks off. All of these things to me indicate that there's quite a few confidential informants in there. And they're just stuck there to like monitor things and entrap, lonely, confused people who are angry at the government and, want to take action and want to help. And they basically just lure these people in and set them up for crimes. And this is like not something that I consider to be a conspiracy anymore. I think that after the Whitmer kidnapping, if anybody was paying attention to that, that should have been like the final straw for everyone on the right and the left. The FBI's informant program has evolved quite a bit since, it started out in like the 80s or so after COINTELPRO, and Congress had to step in and tell the FBI to stop doing what they were doing so obviously, right? So they had to come up with the informant program, which was a way to circumvent the laws against surveilling citizens by getting other citizens to surveil other citizens. And it's always been a giant human rights violation. And it's always been something that needs to be dissolved immediately. Now, whether or not all of these guys are feds, I don't know, but it's sure fun to call them that.
Good morning to all those who are tuning in. It's nice to see the audience getting nice and big over there on YouTube and on Rumble. Good morning. Good morning. Glad to have you here. I know it's because of the beautiful BX Bullet. Sarah Palacios over in the live stream says, BX, you look gorgeous today. Thank you for that. I'm sure that she appreciates that. Cheeky Mare says, let's play Spot the Glowy. That's a fun game. Chris Morrill says, right wingers blaming feds for their shitty behaviors since forever. Okay, Chris. Why you gotta be so sour? Why do you gotta wake up today and choose violence? Rare Camellia says, I have a couple of friends who met their spouses on dating sites. It's fine. Still not worth it. LOL. If we're going to get on the whole dating thing, I do feel bad for all the people out there who are trying to find love. It is a terrible hellscape, BX, and I definitely feel sorry for you. Maybe there's a man here in the comments who will slide into the DMs and you all will find love and slip away.
Way to set me up with another Fed honeypot. That sounds like exactly what you're trying to do, and I'm not falling for it. It's called Fed fishing now. I'm going to write an article for Forbes about it.
Fed fishing. It's a new thing. You've coined it. I'll give you the credit, BX.
My number one fear is matching with a federal informant. Okay.
Hey, BX, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners before we let you go today? What are you working on these days?
Well, I've been doing a lot of art stuff. As you can see, I have a new job. And so like, so some of the weaponry has had to come down during the day. But if you guys are into art, if you are, if you want something softer to kind of, take you out of the mode that I probably put you in when I go on my rants about the feds, you can go check out my Instagram where I have a new art page and an Etsy page, and you can go check out my art. So
she's the lovely, she's the talented, she's the wonderful BX Bullet at BX Bullet TV, and we have her on every week at this time. And maybe we'll start scooching you up. I know I got a message from you, BX. You want to change your time? I will definitely reach out to you about that later, and we'll get you switched around so that we can make sure we have you on here. Okay.
All right, sure thing. I put my Instagram link in your comments since I'm in your chat, since I'm banned from YouTube for being a violent criminal organization. I can't chat, unfortunately.
She's a Fed. Just kidding, gentlemen. Make sure you follow her there at BX Bullet TV and click on that link so that you can subscribe to her content. Have a great day, BX, and thank you so very much for your time.
You too, Austin. Talk to you later.
Thank you very much. What do you think of BX Bullet at BX Bullet TV? It's my partners over at Shell Shock CBD who help me to be able to bring you great content every single day. Yes, shellshockcbd.com is a great place for you to go and get the products that will help you to sleep at night. If you're dealing with pain and suffering, which a lot of people my age and older certainly are, I highly recommend and endorse my friend John Burke's company at shellshockcbd.com. I've got a coupon code set up for you. Use that code AP4Liberty to get 10% off. Here's the nice thing about these CBD and THC products is that these products they come with a money-back guarantee. So if you are like I was and you're skeptical about the efficacy of these products, my buddy John Burke will refund your money if it does not provide you with the relief that you were seeking. And of course, there is Delta 8, which are THC products, as well as THC-free products that are CBD. So you can get something that is psychoactive or non-psychoactive from our friends over at shellshockcbd.com. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of scared of the chocolate bar, but also intrigued because every brick of chocolate from it is like 40 milligrams, which is just for me, oh my God, that would send me into space. I'd be like, Linda Yaccarino after Top Lobster launched her off. I would be crimson and clover over and over. So I go for the gummies, the Delta 8 gummies, and I bite them in half or in quarters so that I can get a good night's sleep. Highly recommend and endorse my friend John Burke's company, shellshockcbd.com. There is the website. Go visit it right now. Type in that code AP4, that's AP, the number 4, AP4 Liberty, and you will get 10% off. Again, money back guarantee from those products, which I love. Uncle Shirley says, I love chocolate. I used to eat Hershey's, but not anymore. Guess what? You don't have to worry about the calories. Just get the gummies, or they've got other tinctures as well if you don't want to get the calories from the delicious products that they offer. Again, they are Delta 8, which are psychoactive, and CBD, which are non-psychoactive. Highly recommend and endorse shellshockcbd.com. Visit that website, shellshockcbd.com, and use that code AP4Liberty. That's AP, the number 4, AP4 Liberty. All right, so I'm going to go to a brief commercial break. When I get back, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about because you know what? Because sometimes I just run out of stuff and I got to go run and tap dance and try and find an awesome new topic that I can talk to you about before we go at the end of the show. It's not news radio, it's podcasting. It's the Wake Up America Show at wakeupamericashow.com.
Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Step right up, ladies and gents, to learn about the coolest president yet. He's not just any old prez, he's Calvin Coolidge, and boy oh boy is he different from the rest. He was quiet as a mouse, but don't you underestimate his power. He knew how to handle money, and he didn't waste an hour. He cut taxes, lowered debt, and balanced the budget with ease. No wonder the roaring 20s brought such prosperity and peace. But don't take my word for it. Grab a copy of Calvin the Coolest President and see for yourself. It's a children's book that'll make you smile and help your little ones learn about wealth. You can find it on Amazon Kindle or get your hands on a paperback at apforlibertyshop.com. So come on down and get yourself a copy of the book that's making waves all around town. You won't regret it, so get ready to be floored because Calvin Coolidge, well, folks, he really scored.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every dollar we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume again.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
The real-world experience.
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Make no mistake, reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Have you been enjoying us so far today? Good, good. If so, then I'm imploring you. I'm asking you. I'm begging you. No, I'm not begging, but I'm asking politely. If you'll hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, I'd be super grateful. It will help us to spread the message of economic freedom and personal liberty here on the Wake Up America Show. Every day that I see whenever we get new followers, especially over on Rumble, it really is exciting for us, and we're grateful to have a platform that protects our free speech, as well as on the Spreely app. That's right, the Speaking Freely app has now decided to help host the Wake Up America Show. And if you're looking for another great free speech app, then we're certainly glad to be included over there as well. We stream on the Spreely app, as well as on Twitch, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever else they'll let us put this show. Grateful to have you here today. We've only got a few more minutes left. We're going to talk about 10 things that you can do to be classy without having to say a thing. Yes, we love being classy, right? A class act. The number one thing that you can do to be more classy without saying anything, can you guess what it is? Dress well. First up, in terms of the ways to show you're a classy person without saying anything, of course, is to dress well, right? Now, that might vary by your age, your culture, your style, your price range, whether or not you're a talk show host, right? But the basic guideline here is to be able to look into a mirror and honestly think, damn, that is a well-dressed individual, right? You want to wear clothing that fits, tasteful shoes, boots or sandals, comfortable fabrics, and classy jackets or dresses, or machine gun t-shirts, neon machine gun t-shirts like mine, right? Stand out from the crowd. You can get these at ap4libertyshop.com. Just the name of the shirt is Gun Runnin' Shortstop is what it is. So check it out over at ap4libertyshop.com. 2 classy accessories, right? My beautiful wedding ring. I do have some accessories that I'm just not wearing today. Joni Rankin says this podcast is her happy place. Oh, I'm glad to have you, Joni. The accessories that you say wear say a lot about you, in addition to your clothing and outerwear. Things like wristwatches, earrings, jewelry, scarves, sunglasses, briefcases, purses, carry bags, and backpacks. Of course, over at ap4libertyshop.com, I have some Gadsden snake earrings, as well as some 4th of July bomb pop earrings. So head over to ap4libertyshop.com and type in earrings, and you'll see our beautiful earring collection as well. Number 3, of course, is how you groom yourself, right? So practicing a high standard of hygiene and grooming is another way to show that you're classy without speaking. Number 4, and this was something I remember after I did a debate when I was running for president in 2016, somebody complimented me on my posture, which I guess I didn't even think about. It's just something I've always kind of done without thinking about. But for a lot of people, standing upright is something that they have to do consciously, right? Posture is actually a huge indicator of social value as well. From the animal kingdom all the way to human beings, the way that you carry yourself and walk says an enormous amount on the nonverbal level. You can display confidence just by how you walk and stand. If you want to have more self-esteem, actually sticking your chest out and walking with your shoulders back is going to convey the impression that you have confidence. And what follows will be likely actual self-esteem. Number 5, show courtesy. Right. The next of the ways to show that you're a classy person without saying a word is by showing courtesy, right? Something as basic as opening the door, pulling out a chair for someone, or opening the car door before they get in, right? So lots of ways to show courtesy. That's a way to show that you're classy. Remaining pleasant, right? Another way to show that you're a classy person without saying a word is by remaining pleasant, even when things get a bit tense, or even if you don't like someone, right? Show that you're classy. Being overly polite to folks is a bad move, though it comes off as insincere. Staying calm under pressure. When pressure hits, people have a tendency to fly off the handle, right? They start chattering, make nervous jokes, or talk about nothing at all, just to kind of cut the tension. Show you're a classy person when you respond to pressure by going about your job and your life without panicking. Number 8, be on task. God, I wish more people would do this. While many people get easily distracted or wander off on a tangent, while they should be working, one of the best ways to show you're a classy person without saying a word is to stay on task. Number 9, avoid drama. That's a tough one, being a talk show host, because I got to get myself right into the middle of the drama. But if you want to stay classy in the real world, not on podcasting world, then try and avoid it. Number 10, use silence to your advantage. Pregnant pauses can be an excellent use of silence. When you use silence to your advantage, it can hold a lot of power and impact. Instead of immediately arguing with somebody that you strongly disagree with, who is offending you, for example, saying nothing at all can be a power move that doesn't even dignify them with a response. What do you think? Tactical silence? It's a great way to even to negotiate and banter, waiting until a better offer is made. Whenever I do sales pitches on the phone, typically I call people up and say, hey, will you please become a monthly supporter of the Wake Up America show? I say, will you please sign up to become a member of Peterson's Patriots for $17.76 a month? Inside, I'm screaming, and I'm like, please, God, please, oh, God. But I stay silent. I wait. And they say, yes, Austin. I'm going to wakeupamericashow.com/support right now. and I'm going to sign up to help grow this show because I need to hire another employee. So it's time. Today's the day. You love the show. You've been listening to it for a long time. You're saying to yourself, you know what? I like Austin. I want to support what Austin's doing. I want more libertarian media out there. There aren't a lot of great libertarian media outlets that are trying to grow the message of economic freedom and personal liberty in a very appealing way. So I'm going to go to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support, and I'm going to sign up to become a member of Peterson's Patriots Today, because you're also going to get a 20% discount at apforlibertyshop.com as well. Yeah, hard asks. It's tough. It's tough, Jamie Marie, especially when you're doing fundraising. You have got to do the hard ask, and then you got to sit there and just stay silent. Yeah. All right. Tomorrow's Wednesday, which means we got Judge Napolitano for Wacky Wednesdays here on The Freedom Show. Make sure that you click like and subscribe before you leave if you haven't already, and visit apforlibertyshop.com. And we'll see you tomorrow on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Bye, guys.
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today. Fire.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit apforlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.